We
Just do a
are
quick one.
started on all platforms, so let's get the little socials going.
Yeah, I'll get them.
Jeez, speaking of DMT, ever since Inverse Bra shielded it, it's tanked. It's gone further down.
Really?
Can't say Inverse Bra can't save it.
I'm still holding the MT
Guys,
from
we
the
are
$11 buys that I
live.
bought. It's nearly been a year, I think.
Arthur blames Bob Laxative.
Do you reckon
Bob
Bob
Lax.
Laxel? Do you reckon Fartcoin is going to turn into Bowden because of Bob Lax?
Yeah.
Mm. Look, I feel like
I
Bob
reckon
Lax, like,
Farcoin is.
Nah, Fartcoin, yeah, I mean, it's more memeable, I guess, than Bowden, but yeah, I don't know. Funny. It'd just be funny if it actually does that.
Yeah.
I'll shill Brotatoes.
we are.
Yeah, fuck. I was telling Swiss, I was telling Wonel that like all my Normie mates that like ran up like 20k to like 100k USD, like not even actually, they ran up probably like 30, 40k to 100k USD, and they were like so euphoric.
Yeah.
And one of them actually spoke about like literally like days before like Sol Eco probably topped, was like talking about getting like a new car, like a new like BMW or some shit.
Fuck's sakes.
Yeah, like, yeah.
That's always this, bro. That was my top signal last cycle. Is like
He knew it as well. He's like, I fucking even spoke about getting a, like I saw him yesterday. He's like, fucking spoke about getting a car. Like I should have sold. I was like, yeah, so I should have as well.
I remember like looking last cycle and being like, I should get a new car. And then I like added up like my port and I was like, I could buy this car outright. Like it was like Mercedes, it's like the car I've got now. But I ended up like waiting like another year and a bit for it. But I was like, I could just buy this outright and I'll be sweet. And I was like, that's awesome. No,
Yeah.
I'm gonna hold. And just like my portfolio went down like 80-90% from there.
It's so shit.
Yeah, I remember looking at McLaren's last cycle and thinking, yeah, I could afford that. And I was like, oh, I would never have been able to afford that.
Yeah. No, that's why, I was so like euphoric, like after, I mean, actually, no, I wasn't like overly euphoric because the Penguins tanked like 50%, but like the airdrop, I was like, holy shit, this is an amazing airdrop. So I was like, yeah, this is good. But then I like sold the airdrop, obviously, and then I held the Penguin for like a couple days because it like went to like 14 ETH or some shit, and then yeah, it went up, and I'm like, fuck. Like I need like I was like, if Popcat dies, like I need to like sell something else. It was either that or Popcat, and I was like, probably should have sold Popcat.
I have something to say after last pod to Swiss in particular. Swiss was right.
Have you told me?
Swiss was right.
Yeah, I know.
Swiss was right.
Yeah.
Swiss was right.
What was Swiss right about?
He was like, boys, please do not round trip this. The fucking NFTs, they went down so much. 50%.
The liquidity event of pengus. Yeah.
So
the same joke isn't funny the second time around, so you know abstract's not going to be anywhere near exciting.
No, absolutely not. It's the euthanasia coaster all over again. But the funny thing is,
your advice, Swiss. I took your advice.
The funniest thing is like when it launched and I got my tokens, the tokens were worth at launch the same amount as what those NFTs were worth, and I was like, sweet, I was so right. But then trying to claim those fucking tokens.
What do you mean the NFT?
So my total token allocation was worth the same as what the NFTs were
get?
worth. A bit.
Yeah.
So like at that time I was like, fuck yeah. But I was like, I could only claim like a portion of them because the claim thing wasn't working. And then I was just like trying to claim.
Oh, bro, I got so fucking lucky.
It was so bad, dude. And then
bro,
my one wallet is a fucking ledger with the micro USB, and the micro USB has a USB A connection, and my laptop only has USB C connections. And then I was like, fuck, I didn't plan this. So yeah, anyway,
bit of a dilemma.
Bro, I got so lucky, like, because obviously I knew it was gonna, like, they were releasing it at like exactly midnight. So they launch it, whatever. Like I see it at like 12:01. Like I click on the link, and like I'm trying to claim, obviously, but like obviously it's like error. Like so many people are trying to claim at once, and I look at the valuation. I'm like, oh my god, I opened it. Like it's sitting at like 5.2 billion. I'm like, fuck me, I need to claim these tokens ASAP. So because I how many tokens I got, and I was like doing quick maths in my head. I'm like, holy shit. And so I was like, okay, I need to claim these. And then like luckily after like the 20th try, like I got in. So I claimed like yeah, it was like 2 mil tokens or some shit. And um yeah, I was like thinking about I was like, oh, I'll sell half here. And it was at like 4.9 or 4.8 mil. And then it went down to like 4.2 and I'm like, oh shit, I should have sold all. And then it went back to like close to 5. And I'm like, oh, do I just sell? And then I think I sold like 80% of them and then I went to bed. So I was like, I actually listened to Swiss and somehow didn't round trip that portion of I've round trip PopCap, but I didn't round trip that.
Yeah, I had a few people reach out to me in the DMs asking for like what to do, and like I pretty much said to them,
Yeah.
I don't know because
I mean, I
no
don't
one is
know.
willing to sell now, but everyone's going to be willing to sell something after this drop.
Yeah,
So
that's
like you just have to be prepared for like the thought that like your pengu or penguin is not going to be worth what it is in the future. So I think I had someone reach out and said they sold a few of their NFTs into the pump. And they weren't comfortable with it. But then after the drop, I think they ended up being more comfortable with
but
that.
like
Yeah.
It was
I
a
think
genius
like
move. Yeah.
yeah,
Well,
like selling the penguin NFTs was like it was like obviously like in hindsight, like I think if you sold like the
on
penguin
at launch, if you were able to
at
claim and
launch,
sell
you would
your
have made like a
token,
lot of
you were
money.
sweet.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
you would
yeah.
you would have made like
You
50K.
had
But
probably about 30 minutes. You had probably 30 minutes to an
yeah,
hour where you were actually okay.
like
But the
I was
problem was
lucky.
you
Like I
couldn't
literally
fucking
sold in the
claim.
50. But
The fucking website wouldn't
yeah,
work. Which is probably why it took
yeah.
30 minutes to
I
half an hour.
I got so lucky, like with the MetaMask one, because everyone was in trouble with MetaMask. Literally 5 minutes after I claimed it, but I was like, I just kept clicking it because it kept saying error, and I
Yeah.
finally just like got in somehow. I think Tom and like Z got in like a couple minutes after as well, but it was just like fuck me. It was a pretty hard claim to do, but
Yeah.
Mama
yeah, no,
Duck
I
is
think it was
Mama Duck is very upset with this discussion around selling penguins right now in the
pretty.
chat.
Yeah.
That's no, I
I can
mean
imagine. I can imagine. It's just it's
it's a
you got
liquidity event. It's just
like no one was gonna come out of that clean. Like
no.
Mm.
It was very PvP
it's
if you decided to hold the penguin for the airdrop. I feel
Yeah, and it
like
really doesn't help that Whiff isn't up or PopCat isn't up. So launching Pengu at arguably larger valuations than them
yeah,
is
it would
like
have
asking for
folded a bit.
selling pressure.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah,
They launched on the Jeet chain at the most GTS time.
Yeah, I'm honestly surprised that they launched it like five feels such a high valuation. Like
Yes.
holy fuck!
Pretty.
Like when Pengu was like were launched, like I swear hype was at like 7 bill or something. Like that's so crazy how it was like 5 bill at like
Yeah.
that point where like Soul was just cooked.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh,
yeah.
It
So
was
what do you think
so,
now for Pudgies? Sorry to cut you off.
no, no.
I
I,
don't know.
I
You're gonna have to ask Wonel.
I think like it's
I've got it.
really market dependent at this point. So I feel like if the market does just like I think any coin doing well outside of like Hyperliquid over the last like 3-4 days has been like difficult. But even in like last night's bounce, like Pengu was one of the top performers outside Hyperliquid. So I feel like if there is a bit of a bid that returns, then it probably does well. Just because it's a newer coin. Two, there's like the Pudgy Penguins marketing machine behind it. So I feel like they'll probably definitely push for it. And because it's a newer coin and doesn't have like the bag holders, then it'll probably do well. And I feel like this 0.03 level has been like pretty well defended. Or
On
this
Pengu?
on Pengu, yeah.
Yeah,
As for the
yeah.
NFTs, they've seemed to have recovered a fair bit after the dip. I think they were like back at point. They were back at 19 ETH when things sort of recovered overnight. Um, I don't know what they are now. I think they're 18.35. So they're not bad. Like they're still fucking awesome. Like 12 months ago, 18 ETH penguins were amazing. It was a gift.
Yeah.
So I think they're still great in terms of value, but I think there was a baked in value that was, relative to the airdrop valuation that was like cooked in it before. And now that's just sort of returned to the mean. And then now it's sort of got to go back to like even bored apes. Penguins are still more expensive than a bored ape is at this point, and bored apes weren't getting an airdrop. So
Yeah, that's
anyway,
pretty good.
so I think overall they're still doing well. Azuki's are doing a airdrop soon.
Oh,
And
are
so,
they? Yeah,
yeah,
another
so
liquidity
Azuki's
event.
have been pumped a bit, but
Yes.
back to that euthanasia. And then I think Doodles are as well. So if you
Yeah.
look at the NFT performance, like Azuki's and Doodles are doing really well, but it's like the euthanasia cycle thing where like the first one does really well and then the second one's not as great.
Yeah,
Yeah.
They're
I feel like
single-handedly topping NFTs doing this.
Yeah.
it's not healthy.
It's not great.
It's incentivize market participants to buy this is like not organic growth.
The only people who can get to buy it are TikTokers.
Yeah, and then also like it's such a smart way to get any of your bag holder community base out of the NFTs, because then you can start being sneaky and creative with snapshot dates and things like that, and leak that information to particular people. What I was like talking to, I can't remember who it was. Maybe it was like Tom or Dark, but I was thinking that like maybe NFTs have like a 2013 to 17 style run where like Pudgys marks the top of NFTs, and then every other like semi-business NFT brand will try and do something similar. But obviously, like you said, the euthanasia roller coaster, it doesn't really work. And then later down the track, there's like a new innovative thing that like is based around NFT value. Like I think Jeffrey or Bala posted in the Hyperliquid chat that we have, that he was talking about how you can now put an AI into a NFT and create it, make like an agent or something. I don't really know what it was.
Interesting.
So maybe that could be something, or like gaming, like Prime, like the parallel avatars or something like that in the future.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't like being in this camp of like, oh, I can see this not having enough gas to keep going, but it does kind of feel like that like Pudgys wrote the playbook, but essentially they're not writing, I should say. Essentially, a lot of the free airdrops that Pudgys got were all unexpected up until now, which is now a bit different. Whereas all these other projects are starting to come out, and they're just like, oh yeah, we'll do an airdrop, and then buy out.
Betas never do well. So, but yeah, I think the one good thing about penguins is a lot of people like have paid off their penguin plus like 10 times
multiple
over
times,
with, like, all the airdrop.
Yeah.
Like, so even if you bought it like a higher like if you bought a penguin for like 4 or 5,
like 3 ETH.
Yeah, or 3 ETH or whatever.
Yeah.
Like you would have made all your money back plus like 10, 20 times over.
Yeah.
So a lot of people just like going to probably hold it. And like the good thing about penguins is like they still make money, like still sort of a business. So it's like they're good. But yeah, I mean, it's, as Swiss said, it was a bit of a liquidity event. And yeah, I don't know. I don't really know what the like next step is, but yeah, hopeful for the community.
Yeah, I
still
really,
got the abstract fund. You still get more free money, I guess. So
yeah. Mama Duck was saying it's about 30k for 30k tokens or some 30k for the next one. But like my
free,
problem,
you guys just keep free money.
But my problem with that is if like the value gets leaked to the community, then like the net value of the NFT just trends towards
priced in.
Yeah, it'll get priced in like right before the airdrop. Like
that's the shit thing, is that if we know about the value of what Pudgys are going to release, then like I don't want to be that guy that says markets are efficient or whatever, but like we shouldn't know about the upcoming value, because the trade of holding Pudgys becomes not as appealing to take, because it's clear with the dynamics of how this occurred. So Pudgys came out, said that they're launching a like a token, and then in 2 weeks Pudgys doubled, right? Like that's like a clear indication to say that like the
valuation
efficiency
of the airdrop.
Yeah, like
will be
imagine if
like,
you, yeah, you know what I mean. I can't really word it right now.
well,
Well,
yeah, they were pretty spot on. That was spot
but
on.
if someone says to you like, "Hey, if you spend $5, you'll get $10 in the future," then you'll do it, right? But then
Yeah,
if everyone knows that if you spend $5, you'll get $10 in the future, then that ticket to buy $5 becomes $10 because it's like bonds, right? It's like the closer a bond
yeah,
gets
yeah, yeah.
to maturity, then like the closer it gets to its value. So there's like I don't know if you remember that video clip from Silicon Valley, that TV show where it was kind of like no, you don't have any cash flow. You don't tell people how much money you're making because as
Uh,
soon as you tell people how much
yeah,
money you're making, people can
You get
value you.
priced in.
You don't want to be valued because your value is then
yeah,
infinite. So like it becomes that. Um,
yeah.
but yeah,
I agree
yeah,
with that. But I don't know what comes after this though, because like maybe this is like the largest, noisiest thing for NFTs for like the next couple of years. You know, it'll be very hard to outbeat Pudgys as a brand running this
true.
playbook. So it's all well and good that I can critique it, but at the end of the day, this might be the thing that just like carries for like God knows how long.
Yeah,
It's just not the. I just don't like. Ever since I saw this happen with like runes, it's just I will never like partake
yeah,
in it
Yeah.
because it's just like no one wins.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, the way that like they're doing like the rounds and stuff like that for it with like VC and stuff. It's like anyone with like actual size in the market, like they're just like they're probably just not going to bid it. Like it's just like which kind of sucks, but like yeah, it's just like that's why I guess all the VC coins didn't catch a bid, and now it's like sort of hype's catching one.
yeah,
Yeah, I don't know,
yeah. And
kind of annoying. But yeah.
I'm like a moderator on the Pengu chat, and I posted on
Mm.
Twitter today about this interaction I had with this guy named Ed who DM'd me, and he was like, "Hello,
Wait,
bro."
Is he that?
Yeah,
I
so
think is
he's
he the
like,
dude
"Hello,
on
bro."
CP with the funny profile
No, no,
picture?
no, no. He's just a random Telegram person. No profile picture, anything. He's just like, "Hello,
Yeah.
bro. I have a problem claiming the airdrop. Can you please help me?" I'm like, "What's up?" He's like, "I
Oh,
can't
oh,
claim it on
oh.
Phantom Wallet." I'm like, "Are you on PC? Can you send a screenshot?" He's like, "On phone." Well, I bought 1.4K tokens. What makes me eligible for claiming? And I was like, well, you had to have a pudgy NFT. There's a few other factors, but whatever. And then I was like, so why do you think you'll be able to claim? So he's like, oh, just for holding tokens since it's lost its value. I was like, what? And I was like, welcome to crypto, bro. And he's like, I know it's
So he
possible.
thought
But
buying the Pengu token would get him more
more
Pengu.
yeah. So he's like, I know it's
so there
possible.
were buyers on the day. There you go.
No, there was a
So
lot of
maybe it'll be.
TikTokers that bought and got like rinsed.
Yeah,
So I was seeing heaps of TikTokers chill the fuck out
dude.
of it.
He's like, thought I could claim just for holding Pengu tokens, but never mind. I was like, no, you can't. He's like, good to know. Fucking retard.
Yeah, that's so no, there's so many like I saw this guy he was literally drawing on pieces of paper, like he was analyzing it on pieces of paper, and he was like, all right, so the prophecy was, and he like would get up like GCR's old tweet, and then he'd be like, this is the brand, and like this is how much the NFTs have gone up like this year. There's going to be a launch. We're going to try to get it at launch or whatever. You guys got to buy it as soon as it launches. And then he would draw like a little squiggle and he'll be like, what I'm hoping for is it rips, accumulates, like you do like a little accumulation pattern, then it goes up again.
Oh my
And I'm like, bro, I gotta find. I'll send you guys the video like when like after this. But it was like, yeah, the prophecy, and like he was saying like, yeah, everyone, we need to get into this, and I was like,
Yeah,
oh
dude.
fuck,
Like I've spent like a
I would have got
considerable amount of
rinsed.
time like dealing with these randoms that like DM me, and I'm just like, man, this is retail as fuck. And all of these people have like 1,000
Yeah,
tokens, which is like 50, 60
whole
bucks, and
retail
they are like
sucks.
getting super like, how do I do this? How do I do that?
That's,
I thought this was this. How do I get free stuff? And you like explain them like, oh, okay, is that how it works? Oh, right, I see now. I think I've been misled. I'm like, oh my God, bro. Please.
yeah, but like I saw all the comments on this TikTok, and it was like, how do I buy? And then like the dude in the like the dude will be like, who made the video is like, pretty sure it's not out yet. Like the dude who made the video doesn't even fucking know what's going on.
Oh my God.
It's like, oh my god. I'm like, bruh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like it to be like if you're like super new to crypto, like it's gone to a point where crypto's so big now, like you have like no edge in anything anymore. Because like even 2021, like you could have if you were like early 2021, like you could have bought like coins on like Coinbase or whatever and like actually gotten like a 10x. Like you won't even be able to get more than like 50% if you buy like a fucking coin on a sex
Well,
these days.
I feel like all of the sex traders outperformed all of the Solana trenches over the last like 3 months. You know what I mean?
Well,
Like with
yeah. Oh no, you're right. You're
XRP,
right with like
Gala.
XRP. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, no, it wasn't just XRP. It was
yeah.
like
That's true. No,
XRP,
but like
Gala. It was like,
XRP, I can like understand, but like the other ones, like
dude,
unless you
all of
bought
the
them
sex
like
tokens
now,
went up three x. All of the sex tokens went up 3x.
yeah. But like, but also like the ones like Gala and stuff, like the dudes buying it are probably just doubling down from their 2021
Yeah, yeah,
buys.
that's
If
literally
that
what they were
makes sense.
doing.
Whereas like
Yeah,
XRP, they're obviously doubling down, but like it went up so much to a point where like it was near the high. So like yeah, they would have obviously made money, but
yeah, that's true.
yeah, like XRP dudes did really well, but like I feel like all those other ones are like they're just all the bag holders still.
That's true.
But
That's
yeah,
true.
but
But yeah,
I mean it's probably gonna happen to memes, but yeah.
yeah. What about you, Swiss? What's been keeping your interest recently? I know Stacks released their thing. I don't know how to explain it properly.
SBTC.
SBTC. Yep, yep.
Ah, yeah,
All that SB, yeah, BTC.
yeah. I'm like the only one that talks about it out of our
Well, we're
cohort. But
early, pretty
That's good.
early.
That's why I'm asking you,
yeah,
so we
so
can.
You don't, yeah, you don't want people talking about.
yeah, so they've recently created their decentralized 1-1 backed BTC. They opened up a 1,000 cap to start with. I'll explain why they do caps in a second, but basically they filled it in 3 days, which is really good.
Nice.
So they've
It's
got
actually pretty good. Fuck.
yeah, it's I've got it. I got a little bit on there. There's not much. I think I've only got like 999 BTC transferred over there. So not much at all. No, I'm kidding. But no, I put a bit over there. There's a few protocols that don't have tokens yet, like Zest Protocol, Hermetica, and Bitflow, which is the dupe of Stacks.
Mhm.
I haven't been farming.
Flow. Interesting.
Yeah, Bitflow. I haven't been farming Bitflow. I kind of forgot about it actually. But yeah, I've stuck some SBTC over there, and I've just been playing around with it. So you get native yield just by holding SBTC, and that comes from the stacking mechanism with Stacks integrated
Like how
with
they buy,
BTC.
didn't you guys used to get paid out in BTC anyways?
Yeah, so
Yeah,
it's
it's
so
like
like
similar
basically
mechanism.
yeah, so it's like so if you have Stacks and you lock it up for 2 weeks at a time in their version of staking, they call it stacking because it's a bit different. You
Yeah.
get paid out in like 9 to 10% or 8 to 10% native Bitcoin yield. So you have like 2 addresses in your Xverse wallet. One's a BTC,
Yeah.
one's Stacks, and you'll get BTC in your BTC wallet for staking it there. SBTC is secured by the BTC network with Stacks. So basically, in that process, I don't know the exact details, but they're basically saying that because you're putting your BTC away, will give you the yield from the stackers securing the blockchain, or the stackers securing
Yeah.
the Stacks blockchain, essentially. So I'm much more comfortable with that from a yield perspective than some of the other ones out there. Just basically because I know Stacks a little bit more. But yeah, I've been experimenting with locking it away and borrowing it and lending it and things like that, but honestly, not a whole lot. Maybe like a couple $100. But yeah, I'm super proud because like SBTC has been in the works for years, and it was never able to be launched until the Nakamoto upgrade went live, and so Stacks has had a really good run of upgrades. So they had their Nakamoto upgrade. So now the Stacks transactions are quite quick. Obviously not as quick as Sol and Hyperliquid and all those others, but definitely massive improvement. And they have their 100% Bitcoin finality. So like for you to, so like you know how the L2s are like what's your terminology for ETH? Wonel, like sequences? Is that the correct word? They can like
Yeah,
wind back their chain and shit like
yeah,
that.
centralized sequences. Yeah, yeah, yep. So,
Yeah, so
yeah,
Stacks
yeah.
can't wind back their chain. So anything that's done on Stacks is integrated with Bitcoin. So unless you can wind back the Bitcoin chain, you can't unwind the Stacks blockchain, which gives it in the self-described description like 100% Bitcoin security. So the security of Stacks is now aligned with BTC, which I think is like pretty cool. Like
That's
this is my
pretty
shit. This is my
interesting.
jam. This is what I like about
Yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah.
So yeah,
That's
so
cool.
SBTC is live.
So the
I don't know
transactions
when they'll increase
must
the cap.
settle quickly on BTC because like the way the ETH one works is kind of like um, my address, let's call it address X, transfers to Arbitrum. So then Ethereum takes a record to say address X sent 1 ETH to Arbitrum to address X,
Mm,
and then Arbitrum at a whatever time that the blocks get built, there's a certain amount of time that they post back to Ethereum in order to settle on Ethereum. And then so anything
yeah,
that happens in between that time happens on ARB in the sequencer. But then
yeah,
when ARB the sequencer settles back to ETH, like whatever interval it is, basically updates the
yeah,
state on ETH to say this is address X's current balance. But if in between that time something goes wrong on Arbitrum, then essentially my funds on ETH, because the last posted balance change was at a certain timestamp, then and if something goes wrong with Arbitrum, so as long as Arbitrum hasn't, and if it, let's say it's got a disputed transaction or whatever within that block or whatever that
yeah,
time period is, then it says, righto, we'll just go back to at this point in time. So if I fucked up anything in between that time, then I'm potentially saved as well. Um, but yeah, so it means that if Stacks is doing that, it must be more frequent or some sort of comms, which is interesting. I really like that. That's it. That's cool.
yeah. Nah, it's super super cool. So now it just needs to get re-rated to $30 per Stacks token, and I'll finally be happy holding this
Yeah,
bag for like 3 years. Um, yeah.
yeah, yeah.
But yeah,
That,
there's plenty of protocols over there that you can go and farm, and yeah, there's. I kind of think that there should be some rotation into the BTC eco with the amount of stuff that's going on there, just from the sheer fact that there's like, if I just look at Stacks, like there are a lot of protocols that haven't released tokens, so there is slightly a little bit of an incentive for people to go over there. And plus, like I do think ordinals and runes will probably have their time in the sun at some point, but yeah,
Hoping
just have to wait
ordinals
and
have
see.
like a big end of cycle pump. That'd be kind of cool.
Yeah,
Or maybe it's like a bear market type thing where like BTC ranges and like people want to like speculate on something and like to just pick ordinals. But I don't know.
yeah,
I feel like they're
I feel
gonna
like
run at
ordinals
some
is
point.
like the that last like if you see ordinals
Yeah,
starting
last
to go,
hurrah.
yeah, like it's like what we talked about with
People are
Shaman
rich as
last
fuck.
week.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. It's ordinals,
yeah,
NFTs are all like, flexing mechanisms. And
Yeah.
that's, yeah.
Hmm. I feel like ordinals haven't pumped yet because people think BTC is gonna go like way higher. Whereas like people NFTs have pumped because like people have like realized like yeah nah it's like perma capped at probably like 5K for this for now
Yeah.
at least. But
yeah.
like
You almost need BTC to range and
yeah they
be
do.
okay with its price before people look further into it, if that makes sense. Because
Yeah.
Well,
it's
like
always
people
just going
don't
to be
want
a
to
number
sell
on a
their
screen for
stats
now.
if like they assume it's gonna go higher. But like if it keeps like there'll be a point where it starts to range, I guess, and then I guess maybe ordinals just like take off. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Guys, I
Hopefully
got
they
a
do.
question for you. What the fuck is above $4,000 ETH? Like, I saw our what post
Bro, there's too
like
many.
African villages get burned down above $4,000 ETH. So,
Bro,
like,
there's too many billionaires the made it from like the ICO and
bro,
like they're just selling
it's just
4K.
4K ETH is just like the worst level of all time. It's like everything just goes to shit
Oh,
at 4K ETH. Like, why?
Like the fact that it hasn't made a new cycle high is just, I mean, like not many alts have obviously, but fuck
It's
me,
so
man. Like,
absurd. It's so
and
absurd.
being like, it's pretty absurd how like with the inflows as well, it like couldn't, like there's just so much overhead like of like OGs just dumping it. Oh man, it
The
was made to
Ethereum
be sold.
Foundation sends
I
its
think
regard.
Oh yeah,
I think
maybe we wait for GCR 2030 10K. He's probably
I,
right.
I thought I thought you were right, Six, when you said it minted too many like billionaires and millionaires too quickly. I've
Yeah,
never
because
like believed that until like you said that, and I was like, oh no, that actually makes sense. Like 2021 could have just priced in like 15 years of Ethereum development, and I didn't realize.
Yeah,
well, like
yeah.
if you think about like B2C, like everyone like that bought B2C, like the reason they would have bought it is because like they believe in it. Yeah, like they would have been like,
Mm.
okay, like I'm spending my hard-earned money like on something. I'm not getting it like early before other people. I'm just buying the market price. Yeah, so like it, like the people that have bought it like early or whatever, like obviously some have sold, but like a good portion of them like they probably just believe like in B2C as like a religion. But like
Yeah.
ETH, the people in the ETH ICO, like they obviously did it for profit maxing because like they're investors, like they want to make profit. Like, so like yeah, it minted a lot of billionaires. Like I saw like there was one wallet that like is it like a genuine billionaire wallet. Like it's just one dude, I'm pretty sure, and he's just been like clipping. I saw him sell like $80 million the other day, and I was
Oh,
like, what the fuck? I
bro.
was like, brother,
Yeah.
brother.
No,
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
kind of crazy.
there's a reason I've had my if you ever see me bullish ETH tweet pinned for like a year now. It's just too
It's
many
sad
people
because
get
like I
rich.
fucking want ETH to like just yeah, that's probably a good point. But I just want ETH to just I just want to see it at like fucking 8K, just like
Yeah.
go up.
No, dude, like if ETH
Oh,
breaks
it's so
4K,
Go up,
beautiful.
it
you
is bull
stupid.
market.
Yeah,
It is like literally like it is the bull that is like
yeah,
the moment we've all been waiting
yeah.
for is like ETH above 4K. But
I
um
think I think one day it will like it will go up. I think it's just there's so much overhang and like GSA's probably right. Like it might just take years of it to like of fucking BlackRock bidding for it to like all for all these old OGs to like dump on it. But maybe by then it's old boomer tech. I don't know. We'll see what happens.
so you guys might remember the other day Tom sent us a screenshot of that dude he was talking to on a call. But it was like to do with
Oh,
some
yeah.
really cool coin that's being developed. Anyway, I won't give any sort of hints towards that, but or I don't know if it was a coin, it was just more so the project. But anyways, this guy's been like talking with Vitalik and been in ETH for forever. And mid conversation, like Tom was talking about the pudgys, and then the guy's like, "Oh, I remember pudgys. I minted
Oh
some of
yeah,
them."
yeah.
And then it's like, oh, let me have a
This
look.
is
And
so
Tom's like,
fucked.
dude, you got
Into it.
fucking airdrop. It's like, oh, I've got four of them. I think I have the rods and the little ones too. And then fucking, oh shit, I got a $250,000 airdrop. Sweet.
This
All
is the
right.
thing, man. Like these ETH dudes are so rich by like got so rich so quickly.
Yeah, and he's like, oh, I have some
They don't even
punks
know.
as well. Like he had a crypto punk as well or some
Oh
shit.
my
And he was
god,
like, wait,
I just thought
man!
of
these are worth 18 ETH. These are worth 20 ETH. Wow. Like what the fuck, dude?
the funniest joke about anyone who got rich off Ethereum. And I think it's pretty obvious with this guy and like just like Vitalik's ideals towards like DeFi in general is that ETH like got too wealthy too quick that the people that benefited greatly off it still don't believe in capitalism. Now, if
Yeah,
this went up like the S&P, they would have believed in capitalism. They would have gotten to this point and been like, I understand the importance of decentralized finance. But no, we just had to make them incredibly rich that they could have all of these like distorted views of society, but have $80 million bank accounts now. We created these
it's
people.
so
We
true.
created
Yeah,
them. Because like the Ethereum Foundation constantly twapping out is just like the
it's so
most
fucked.
shittiest feeling ever. Like it's like, why do you need that much, man? Like you're swapping out $20 million to go
They've
fund
like
some
swapped out like
biotech.
100 mil this year or some shit.
Uh,
Think
yeah,
about
I
all
put
of
out
the
a tweet
Close
saying,
biotech
to
that
how do
they
you feel you
funded.
got
$80 million.
out traded by them?
I love how they say it's like, yeah, it's for like salaries and stuff like that. I'm like, bro,
You,
you have
you,
like 10 employees. How many fucking salaries do you need?
for marketing purposes, fuck me.
Yeah. Oh my god. Yeah, no, it's just not a good like as cliche as it is.
I really
Not a
like
good
what
look.
Swiss said
Not
there
a good
though
look.
about like they're people that they're not capitalists. They're like these
They're not capitalists. Yeah.
techno like superior like probably socialist
Uh,
sort of aligned type people, and they
Yeah, but
yeah.
just
it's weird though, isn't it?
mm,
Like,
But like it's just I don't know, it's so different to like how maxis
yeah,
like BTC maxis like think of they like they think like whereas like ETH dudes are like very open to like talking about stuff and all that. But maxis are like disgusted at the thought of like buying or selling their BTC or like buying anything. They're like
there's
they just they're so like anything on the planet, whether it be like real estate or it's just like
yeah,
inferior. Like it's so inferior to like Bitcoin. And like that as funny as it sounds, like it's so bullish. Like even though we like made fun of them in 21 or whatever, like so bullish for like the future of BTC because it's like these people are just gonna die with BTC in their wallet and it's gonna never be sold. Like
do you know what, dude? That's so funny because can you just imagine like a Ethereum person and a BTC person at like the same table, and
yeah,
it's
it's
the
so
Ethereum
different.
person hypothesizing about the future society and
Yeah.
how we can all live together, and the BTC
Yeah.
person's just looking at them across the table in disgust.
Yeah.
Like they're just like,
Like you
"What the
bought
fuck are you
Ethereum?
saying?"
Yeah.
Like, but it's so true. They're so hardened, and you
Yeah.
cannot sway them, and that's
No.
like the best thing about it. And whereas Ethereum's like, yeah, well, I envision a world where sound money principles matter. It's like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
oh
And
my
it's
god.
so funny. Like, uh,
And then you've
even
got like
like, yeah.
Solana that's just like, I do not give a fuck about like any of that shit. I just want to fucking buy an animal coin and get rich. It's just like this complete different
Yeah.
sort of personality type
It's
between
so
like the three
like,
of them.
Yeah,
hmm.
yeah, I don't
Yeah,
know. It's so
basically,
funny.
it's so funny. Like I saw some dude just like did a post and it was like all these fucking coins, everything is a distraction and it's a psyops from B2C, like everything.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's like probably is in the end. Like
it's true, man. It's so
it's
true.
like
It's how I
I might just
started
become a
actually.
boring maxi fucking
It's
yeah.
literally how
I
I
might just
started.
become a boring maxi and just ignore everything else. Yeah, it's just oh man. I
Protege's
love
mum
just
says
like the laser
Vitalik's
eyes on
girl
them.
needs another Birkin.
uh, and then they make it. It's like they do all those stupid dances at the things, at
Oh,
like the events, and you go,
Yeah.
it's so edgy because they're like super wealthy from changing the world, and then they're like, and then as it goes on, you kind of like, oh no, this is like frustrating as hell that these retards are selling $100 million a year to like
Yeah, no,
go do random
that's what I
shit.
thought was that's what pissed me off. Like, so you like and like when ETH was doing well and they were doing the dances, you're like, haha, these guys are so left curve and retarded that like it's so bullish, they're never gonna sell. But then like you realize they're not like actually retarded and they're like all these like socialists that like are dumping on us, and it's like, what the fuck? Why did I buy this coin?
Yeah.
yeah. Uh,
Uh,
did you guys catch the Steady Lads episode with Vitalik the other day?
yeah,
No.
I watched. I had it in the background as I was playing some Jedi Survivor. I caught a little bit of it, but I probably am going to miss what you were about to
So,
talk about.
so they were talking about how Vitalik gets like airdropped these like meme coins, and then just
Yeah,
asking him like how he feels about it, and then he was like, yeah, so with Sheeb, I got this token in there, and then they were like, do you feel any sort of responsibility to like the other people that hold? And he's like, no, like basically like I funded all of these biotech projects with it, and all of those things like did really
Oh my
well as a
god.
result. And it's just like this fucking guy is just fucking nuking like 50% of the supply, getting $1 billion, and just being like, let me do what I think is good for the world, like going forward. And it's like so fucked up to me. Because like to him it's so normal, but it's like he feels like he knows what's best, and then therefore, because the capital is available to him, he gets to deploy it in the way it does. And like, look, he's got that ability to because it was given to him for free, literally. But it's just like he doesn't ever like stop to think for a moment to be like, maybe like this is really bad for the people that hold it, like maybe people's lives, like maybe people have a lot of money in this. And you're like, no, I can sell all of this and then just fund some random edgy biotech thing. It's just nuts to me. He's like, you could just burn it. Like
Yeah,
you've got so much money, like you could do something that maybe benefits
yeah, like
those
you're
people,
already rich.
Or
but
just
like
degen loop it through DeFi. Like, why are you extracting a value out of this space?
yeah, just buy more ETH
Well,
with
that's the
it.
whole point of ETH now. Like, yeah. Well, that's the thing. Like, they don't believe it. Like if like they actually believe in ETH, like, why the fuck do they keep dumping it? Like,
Hikaru says
Yeah.
Vitalik invented the full stack Hitler.
yeah, it's for no, it's
And
That's actually
Marmaduke,
hilarious.
Marmaduke
That's
says
great
something
call.
that's very true.
yes,
Everyone becomes a maxi after 3 cycles. It's probably
true.
Yeah.
This is my second, so I think I'm
yeah.
gonna become a boring maxi next
I
cycle.
feel myself becoming more and more a maxi all the time. So yeah, that probably makes
It's
sense.
just like you can sleep at night being a maxi. I feel like because you've got other dudes that'll die on their bags, whereas like if I'm talking to like a .eth, it's like they have like some stupid view on the world, and I'm like, well, I don't feel like I want to sleep with these guys holding the same coins as me. At least the maxis will die holding BTC on their ledger. But yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, like that's even though it's insufferable and like I've
no,
dealt
it's
with some
insufferable.
maxis.
Yeah, but
Like
like,
yeah.
yeah, you know what I'm saying? It's
Yeah.
like for personal bag bias, it's like so bullish in the sense that like everything on planet Earth, including like its competitor gold and like real estate and freaking any asset on the planet Earth, is just like they just think of it as an inferior asset class. They're like, well, it goes down in Bitcoin terms, so it doesn't matter, which is true.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah. No, I look, it's yeah, you kind of just get to a point where you're like, yeah, I just can't be
just
bothered with
full
anything
port
new. Just give me
BTC.
some yeah.
I feel like yeah, like I just feel like having BTC as like a core holding in like 10, 20 years, you like when we're older, it's gonna be like you're gonna be in the part of the wealthy elite.
Yeah.
Look,
Even though it'll probably still be volatile. But
I actually went down the rabbit hole that I actually went down the same rabbit hole back in 2021, probably mid-cycle, like in mid 2021, where I spent it was like 2 3 days ago. I was talking to a guy at work who's like electrician. He's like works close to my team about doing BTC mining with like buying some like shipping containers that have like the rigs in it, and then going and finding like biogas places where like they have to flare the biogas and they can't use the energy, and then like setting up like these mining rigs for it. And I was like, that could be super lucrative. I worked it out. It's probably like a 2 year payback. It's like probably a $2.5 million investment, 2 year payback
yeah,
at current like hash rate and market prices and whatnot. I was like, this could be fun. And I was like, what am
I
I
mean, if
doing?
you believe in BTC as like an asset for like
But
20 plus
had
years,
I
like
done
yeah,
it
it'll
like in
obviously be
20,
profit.
if I'd done it back in 2021, then like it would have been so good because I would have like paid it off by now.
Yeah,
And but yeah, I definitely think
yeah, it's a
like
lot of capital to invest. That's the problem.
it is, but there's like so much opportunity in it, like being proof of work.
Yeah,
And
I
like,
know.
it's like, the more and more gets sort of like acknowledged, like the more you like this actual like genuine shit that you could do here. Um, but yeah.
Yeah, I think like just the whole like theory of just like having BTC, like being able to like just travel the world with like holding BTC like as like its store of value just like can be transferred like going to countries and just like knowing you've got BTC, or like even like just stables in general, but like mainly BTC, it would just like you just feel
Mhm.
so good like when you see like countries like currencies like fucking being debased like third world countries. It's like,
Like the Aussie
man, all you need
peso.
is an internet connection. Yeah, it's just like, bro, all you need is an
Bro,
internet
have
connection
you
and a
seen the Aussie
fucking
peso
wallet,
this
and
week? Holy
you're-
fuck.
yeah,
It's
no, it's making
Quietly,
my USDC look real nice, actually.
how good is having stables then as like
Yeah,
an app that we can access
oh,
for
it's so good.
yeah,
using USD?
great app. Yeah, nah, Bernie's the
Bernie's a Chad. I love some of Stable's marketing recently. It really appeals to Wonel.
What have they been saying? I gotta have a look.
No, there's like some posts. They've been having some influencer style posts, and let's just say the
Oh,
influencers
bullshit.
are very my type. Um,
Oh yeah, yeah, I've
Oh,
seen
I get what you mean. I get what you mean.
I like tagged Bernie in a few, and I was like, Bernie, is this tailored towards me? Um, but yeah. So I thought while you're still here, Sticks, because I know you got to leave soon, but I thought what might be interesting is given that we're towards the end of the year now, I'm pretty sure that's Bernie's girlfriend dead. Shit. Lol. Sorry, someone put that in the chat.
Wonel,
That's
you
funny as fuck.
horny fucker.
Fuck
You
me.
horny fucker. You
Oh
can't.
shit.
You horn dog.
Anyway, Bernie's got good taste.
Yeah,
Just clipped this. That's funny as fuck.
yeah. Tinkler, you gotta get
Oh
to work.
shit. Oh, I'm dying. I'm sorry, Bernie. I respect you. Anyway. That's
Anyway,
good Stables
that's funny as
marketing
fuck.
material. You should definitely use that. Um,
Yeah,
what
getting
I,
a lot of attention on it.
yeah. What I was going to ask was looking back in the last 12 months, like since January, what's probably been the thing that surprised you the most, the highlight of the year for
Mm,
you, and then something that you wish you did differently?
Um, so probably the thing that surprised me the most was, um, I'd say like how potent the bid for like BTC was, and like how bad the bid for like alts were. Like in terms of like obviously there was alts that went up and went down a lot, but like as a general consensus, you can't really hold alts for like a long period of time
Mm,
in this cycle. Well, like at least not like other ones aside from like the top few, because like yeah, if you've held like an alt since like um you know for the start of the year, unless you was like you got into a meme coin like super early and it got a spot listing on the big exchange, it's like you're better off just like porting BTC in most cases, full porting BTC, because like trying to like rotate has been like a nightmare
mm,
for most people. And like it would have amplified, especially during that like choppy 6 month period,
yeah.
where like a lot of people got rinsed. Like even I had moments where like I was getting chopped up pretty hard. But yeah, so I think just like the strength of BTC in comparison to like altcoin,
Mm,
like it hasn't really been like if in 2021, we had the full PVE where it's like you had to be more selective of how you played this cycle, and you always had to be selling unless it's BTC. Um,
mm,
so
mm.
yeah, that was interesting. And then probably what was the other question? Like
So,
best
so that
trade
was,
and what would you
yeah.
do
So, what
different?
was
What
the
was that?
most, like, the best thing you did, and then what would you do differently?
Probably the best thing I did was probably honestly just like holding penguins, I'd say.
mm,
Like as I said, that like holding alts was really hard, but holding the penguin was probably like one of the better things I did this cycle, because it just like got me all this free airdrop money, and while it also appreciated in ETH terms, while ETH also appreciated. So that was like it was probably just like a little thing where like I had a bunch of ETH in a wallet, and you could just bought the penguin in the bear market, and it's just like yeah, it turned out to be a little money printer, which was very like surprising, because I was always just thinking in my head, I'm like 20, 30 ETH Penguin would be cool, but like you never thought about like the other opportunities, like the airdrops that came with it. So that was really cool. Because like I had no idea that we'd ever get anything like that. And then what I do differently, hard to say, because there's like so many things I could have done differently, obviously. But I think, uh, probably like at the start of this, like at the start of the year, I had a bit too much PTSD from like last cycle, and I was selling a lot early where I should have like probably recognized that we were like not at the tail end of of the bull market. We were just sort of like midway through. Um, so that was probably something that I sort of did wrong. And also over trading during the 6 month chop, where I should have just realized the seasonality of how crypto works is like, and Q4 is just always bullish in a bull market, and like we were obviously in a bull market. So I should have just been like found the coins that I wanted, and just like don't even do anything, just wait for them to appreciate. But instead, like I did play around with some coins, and yeah, like hit a few good ones. But I think in the end, like it was probably better if I just sat in the coins, because I probably lost money in the end, chopping myself up doing that. Which a lot of people did. But it's hard when you're like on the Twitter every day, and like not doing anything. It's like that's the bad thing I think about crypto. We're so like gamble centric now that like I'm on this app every day, and I feel like I have to be in a position every day where sometimes you shouldn't do anything. You should just relax or sit in a bag and just don't touch it.
Yeah, that makes
A couple
sense.
things there, but yeah. No, overall, like it's been a pretty like good cycle so far. I don't really know where we are in the cycle. We're definitely not like early anymore.
What gave that away, Sticks?
I think like the soul trade, like the problem with soul now I think is like it's just so diluted to a point where there'll be the memes will still go up, no doubt. There'll still be coins where people make life changing money every day on soul. Like it's a casino, but I think like the overall PVE meme coin trade is not like as apparent as it was.
Yeah, like the
It's sort of
financial
it sounds
nihilism
bad, but
stuff's kind of died off a bit.
yeah, I think as soon as like Murad started getting like, it sounds bad, started getting like, like 300, 400K views on like a token 2049 video, and then started going on like podcasts with VCs. It was like, ugh. Like dudes that had no interest in meme coins finally just like started coming into it. It's not
Yeah.
exactly the most bullish thing ever, but I mean, yeah, there'll still always be a new coin that comes out. If you get it on Pump Fund, you can make life changing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel like it's a bit over diluted. It's going to be hard to just send everything PVE like we did a month ago or 2 months ago.
Nice. That was
Yeah,
good.
that's about
Good,
it. Yeah.
good summary, Sticks. What about you, Swiss?
Well, I'll ask you, but yeah, you two can go now, because I want to hear what you guys have to say about it. The same question.
Uh, what surprised me? Just how much, like, I don't know, like if we go back to like May, April, where everything was like pumping so hard off the fact that the BTC inflows were coming in the ETFs and stuff like that. I didn't think we would range on BTC all the way up until the Trump election.
Yes.
Yeah, me either.
I think it became more apparent that when it was ranging up there, that it would be a breakout. And I think for those who like trade, I didn't trade this well, but it did start to become really apparent where the lows were and where to start going risk on, especially around the reaction with like rate cuts, and then also the lead up to the election and then the election. I think that was quite clear. Don't know where we're at now. We might end up ranging for another 6 months. Kind of hope not, but anyway, what was the other question? After being surprised,
best thing, and then the thing that you wish you did differently. Best thing that you did, or best thing that like from this cycle that you think happened, and then things that you wish you did differently.
Yeah, I think this is a big one for me, and I think some people kind of get it as well. Is like when you build conviction on things, you kind of fill up your mental bandwidth or your like psychological cup, so to speak, with like your ideas, thesis, and then price targets and risk management and stuff like that. The downside of that is you like are unable to let any sort of new information come in for you to like be open to then like gamble on or take risk because all the effort that got you to the point of conviction isn't quite there yet with the new shiny stuff that launches. So a lot of the narratives I actually like missed, especially towards the later end of the year, which was like AI and some of the meme coin rotations and things like that, completely missed. Like, I think Sticks, you shielded us SPX right before Murad went on his like, you know, his rampage of shilling it everywhere. Like we missed out on like a 68x.
So did I.
Yeah. So like it just so I think
Wonel
for
caught it.
me, I'm gonna try
Yeah, only
and
by
be in a
luck.
position where
Yeah.
yeah,
You caught it.
uh,
That's the main thing. But
just be in a position to like ape stuff and just like kind of research later in that sort of fashion because
Mm,
I
mm.
think when the money's hot, it can run like
it's very
Filecoin,
reflective. Yeah, reflective.
AIXBT, all this sort of stuff. So that's one thing I'd like to do differently. Like I've got a lot of long-term conviction things, and so kind of just like removing them out of my mind and then having a little bit more capital to deploy on things that just catch my interest. Like it's a really hard thing for me to contextualize, but once you're kind of satiated with your bets, it's like very hard for you to like all of a sudden open your mind up to like a new way of investing or taking a gamble or risks and stuff like that. That's just from my experience.
Yeah.
Nice. And what about the
And what?
best thing you did this year? Like
I think the
something that
best
you really
thing,
liked.
uh, best thing I did this year. Does it have to be crypto related?
No, no, it doesn't have to be.
I reckon traveling to Egypt was probably the best thing I did this year.
Nice.
Well, like the whole extended holiday went from like Egypt, Turkey, Albania, and a little bit of Greece. But I reckon going to Egypt, a country like that, was like extremely eye-opening and just like a really good time. So that was probably the best thing I
Yeah,
did this year.
Egypt.
This whole summer.
That's yeah. I've never thought about going to like a country like Egypt. It's quite an
Yeah,
interesting. Yeah.
dude, it was awesome seeing like the pyramids up close and seeing all these like ancient ruins and
Yeah.
all that sort of stuff. It
That's
was
I
sick.
just
just
had to think
awesome.
about like how they would have like constructed it.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah, man.
seriously.
Like what the
Yeah,
fuck, man? Like how? Like oh man, crazy. Nah, that's sick. Albania, I've heard is like really cool. Um,
yeah,
never
it was
been,
good.
but yeah, but
What about you, 1L?
yeah.
Same
Give us,
questions.
give
Hmm.
us your
So, I that point that you said around the differently part, I would probably like to copy that because I've
Mm,
been battling with it probably the last month or two, just around the fact that
yeah.
I did really well in the first quarter, and because I did
Mm,
really well in the first quarter, I kind of just thought, you know, I kind of held on to that because I thought, like, because I didn't sell. I thought I had a thesis, and then I watched it like round trip. Like, no, I didn't go under what I purchased. Like, I still did well off of it, but I watched it go down, and then I watched it go all the way back up, and then I watched it go down again, and then I found it really hard to let go of a position because I was so attached to it because of how well I did initially. And because of how well I did on that, I stopped looking around me for newer things. And like you, I missed the AI stuff. I was quite vocal about how I didn't like the AI stuff, and I still don't really like it.
yeah.
But I lost my hunger and my thirst of like the interest of the space and like the research and like the
Yeah.
financial nihilism stuff really
I agree
like
with that as well.
killed
Yeah.
me a bit. And it was really starting to like bother me towards the end of the year, but I was kind of like I came to like this acceptance where I was like, well, it's just about money now, so let's just try and make the money. But then at some point in time, like when you're not making money, then it just feels empty. And
Yeah, I agree with that.
and then when you've got this position, so like these positions and convictions that you're basing solely off like timeline and events and things happening, like to bring it back, and that's worked for me with pudgys, and like I've held the pudgys for a long time, and that position probably would have been it probably would still be a good position like long term, but it just it got me complacent, and you know the
Mm,
thing that made me do well from the end of 23 to the early 24 was the fact that I
yeah,
let go of any complacency. Um, and
yeah,
I kind of I'm frustrated with myself a bit that I didn't like change that perspective earlier, but at the same time, I learned a lot of lessons along the way. Because
yeah,
you know, you end up running things up and you're coming back down, you're running things up. You get these like mini financial cycles that like
yeah,
you get over a total bull run, but you get them in like a squeezed amount of time, which is like, you know, it's a good lesson nonetheless. But I wish that I actually when I started feeling like what am I actually doing here, I don't want to care about fucking
mm,
which dog or animal coin or whatever's like popping on TikTok. Like I succumbed to the brain rot, and whilst that was
yeah,
like probably
Yeah.
wise to you know make money, like over the long term it probably didn't help. And I wish I just got out of that mindset sooner, because there were plenty of opportunities around if you're looking for them, but you
yeah,
just had to look for them, and you actually had to you know do some work and actually get into the weeds a little bit, and those
yeah,
things didn't have immediate payoffs, but they paid off in the long run. And
yeah,
I think this cycle, one of the worst things about this cycle is that it's sort of trained most people's brains to expect an immediate payoff, whereas
yeah,
like the last few years and even cycles previous, most of the positions that you would take would be over a longer time frame, and
mm,
because this cycle's been so quick in terms of like how quick a position can run,
Yeah,
it's
speed of
it,
everything is just like
it's just it's
increased
cooked, and
dramatically.
the expectations that people have now on what's like a good market, what's a bad market, is so twisted, and myself included like sort of fell into that basket. So I'm coming out of that now, and I'm like I may have like I've repositioned, and it may be for the worst, but I think mentally it's better for me, because I need to get back to like what actually made me interested in the space, and you know not worry about like price being the only dependent thing, and actually use a bit of that intellect cross with investment thesis, like to actually make it make sense. So that would probably be my one thing I did differently. Um,
yeah.
the
I think you hit the nail on the head. Oh no, sorry, you finish. Sorry,
no,
didn't mean
you
to
go,
cut you
you
off.
go. No, let's you go before I move on.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I think you hit the nail on the head about that financial nihilism and kind of bringing it back center as to why you got into the space and what interests you to essentially be a part of it. I think that's a really good point, because it does kind of get to you when people say stuff like, oh, like meme coins are the best use case, and you know, like VC backed stuff isn't good. It just kind of gets you, and you kind of go, yeah, what was the point? And then you kind of doubt yourself, and then you buy animal tokens expecting them to have good Q3 earning reports to make them go higher, and then that doesn't end up happening. So
Yeah, yeah,
yeah, good point.
yeah. No,
Yeah,
for sure.
I'll just quickly I'll say like the same thing what Swiss said. Like I remember I got into the space for like I was like actually got into the space for the tech, and it's like it got to a point I think in the last 2-3 weeks, and I was just like buying like whatever the latest TikTok viral like brain rot was, and it's just like
Yeah,
we've sped run the dopamine degeneracy to a point where like you can't go like if it goes any further than this, it's like I don't even think I can go further. And I'm pretty like retarded as it is. Like I can deal with this shit for now, but
Mm.
like I was getting so bad to a point where I'm just like, and it's just refreshing to see like something like like something like hype, like an actual crypto product that's being built, like Hyperliquid, like something that's actually like we can use. It's like something really cool, like on chain, like that we can use, and it's just like an interesting ecosystem that I can like actually analyze. So it's like kind of refreshing and feels good. Like,
Yeah.
hopefully it keeps doing well. But yeah, sorry, you go. What was the last? You got one more, I
Yeah,
think. One
no,
else.
no, but I think like the key thing there was like I think personally I've always prided myself of like not consuming like a lot of the brain rot stuff that like people do. Like whilst I'm like a Twitter addict, like I'm not on Instagram, I'm not on TikTok, like I'm
Mm,
not like endlessly scrolling on stuff that's like I that I feel is like net negative. Whereas like I've always felt like Twitter was somewhat intellectually stimulating. And whilst there's a lot of
yeah,
shit posting and everything, a lot of like what got me into CT was like, I felt like there was I was learning. But then when I got to the point where I wasn't learning and I was like, right, I just need to find out what's popping, what's memes. And I'm like learning all these Zoomer memes, like
yeah,
fucking Skibbity and Riz. And I'm like, what the fuck am I doing with myself, bro?
yeah.
Like, yeah. So, but yeah, so
Skibbity toilet.
yeah, seriously. But like, look, I had fun. I'm not knocking at all. Like, and
Yeah,
I
no, so,
think there
so
was
have
a time
I.
and place,
Like, don't
the
get me
time and
wrong.
place for it, and it was the right thing for a certain period of time. But like, it has to, you have to draw a line somewhere. Um, but I
Yeah.
guess so. For the thing that surprised me the most, I would probably say the back to back to back to back to back good news in terms of like government and ETFs and all of that stuff all year long has just been surreal for an industry that was so
Mm,
down on itself after everything that happened with FTX and Binance and that for us to have so many back to back wins that just didn't seem to stop all year
yeah, we didn't
round.
take an L against
Yeah,
like the
we
SEC. It's
like
crazy.
the BTC FTF, ETF we won. The ETH ETF we won. The Trump win with like the crypto backing and everything we won. It was just like all year round. It was just you couldn't get a better series of events to all have lined up so perfectly. And
Mm,
Yeah.
had you had asked me 12 months ago, would all of those things happen? I probably would have said no, or I would have put them on a low probability chance that they all would have happened sequentially.
Mm,
But the fact
yeah.
that they all happened in the way that they did was super surprising.
mm,
And I think that was probably my biggest surprising thing for the year. Um, and
Yeah.
then for the best thing that I did this year, whilst it's crypto related and like I've made some good trades, I made some really bad trades, but the thing that I did best this year, I'll probably put it down to two things. So one would probably be doing like this podcast with you guys. I think that
Yeah.
was one of the
fuck
best
yeah.
things
Yeah.
that we did this year. Like I think we
100%.
expanded our reach. We talked to some really cool people, like Dark and fucking Sassel and Taiki, and we've had some and Clouded Mind, like we've had some really like top people on our podcast, which has been awesome, and as well as like the local community here in Oz, and we've been able to build like some really good friendships with a lot of people that like 12 months ago we didn't even know existed, and
Yeah.
we've had
Yeah.
nights out drinking, eating, like whatever it may be. I think that's been like
Mm,
really awesome that like we've been able to do so because of crypto.
100%.
Because like had it not been for crypto, none of us would have connected the way that we did. So I think that was really cool.
Yeah.
And then secondly would probably be the pudgy stuff that I've done this year, like actually getting out there and working for my bags, but doing so in Australia. Um,
Yeah. Literally,
Nice.
like
that's so good.
we like me and DC like put on two events,
Nah,
like
Wonel cooked. Yeah.
like actually like DC did a lot of heavy lifting, but like working with Greg
Yeah.
from
Shout out DC,
Upside
honestly.
and
Man.
and doing such a cool event there at Upside was awesome, and then doing the event with Infinex in Sydney was amazing. Again, like both events, like met crazy people, got connected with the Pudgy team. Like it's just been cool to be like I was just like the lurker on Twitter like less than like 18 months ago before I like met you guys, and then like I've gone from that to
Mm,
being like actually being the dude that's like part of like putting these events together, like
Yeah.
is pretty crazy. So I feel like that's probably the
yeah.
best thing I've done this year for sure.
Oh, wholesome, man.
Fucking
Awesome.
all right, boys. I'll have to.
Are you guys gonna stay on, or are you gonna end it?
Yeah, we might have a yap.
I'm happy to stay on for a bit longer.
All right, cool. Yeah,
Yeah.
sweet. Because I have to bounce.
We'll
But
have a yap.
You have to call
I'll see you tomorrow, Swiss.
six. Yeah, I'll see you tomorrow, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll see you guys
Wonel,
tomorrow
always a
too.
pleasure.
No, joking. I'll be flying back from Townsville tomorrow. I'll finally go home after being away for weeks.
Oh, how long have you been away for?
2 weeks as of tomorrow.
Oh shit, that's crazy.
Yeah. But no, enjoy Sticks. Say hi to your girlfriend for us. Bye.
Yeah, will do. All right, see you, boys.
See you, Six. Enjoy. I'll see you tomorrow, man.
Nice.
Is there anyone from the chat that wants to jump on quickly, do you think?
Hikaru, fucking Rog is in here. Shaman. Anyone want to jump on?
Is Rog there?
Yeah, he's Protege's
Dude,
mom.
I get Rog on again. It's so fucking funny.
Let me.
If Rog's there, I'd love to chat to Rog.
Yeah. Actually, come on. I'm gonna DM him quick. Rog, come jump on, please. What about Karu? Karu, you want to jump on? Yeah, Karu's keen. Let me send you a Discord link.
Oh yeah, let's get Karo on as well.
That'd be cool to have Karu. We never had Karu on before, so that'd be cool. Karu's actually got some interesting thoughts on the market, actually.
Is he telling us that we go up in like a straight line? Because that's
Rob's coming. Rob's going to come on too. Nice.
Woo!
Sick. Love to have Rob on. That'd be good.
What a night. What a night. What a beautiful night.
Bro, the fucking pengu holders that are in this chat have got to be some of the most brain dead people I've ever like interacted with in my entire life.
That's your exit liquidity, right? That's a good sign,
dude. Oh my god, it is so bad. I had like this one dude being like, "Your mods are scamming us," and I said, "Okay, how?" And he's like, "Look, this mod is accusing you of being a scammer," and I'm like, "Really?" And he's like, sends me all these screenshots. I'm like, "Dude, those are fake accounts." He's like, "Oh, really?" I'm like, "Yes, bro." Hey,
What's up, boys? Can you hear me?
Hey,
what's going on?
Good, man. How are you?
A pleasure to be back on the pod.
Nice.
He's back.
Very nice. How do I get Rog's photo on here? How are you, Rog? What's been
It's nice to be able to do. I'm good, bro. It's nice to be able to do something that isn't just like pain watching the hype chart go up eternally while my tag is minuscule. So hey, it's a action, bro.
I love it.
So you're pretty deep in the hype now, Swiss. You've got is it a sizable bag? Like
of hype?
Yeah.
Not too big. Like to be honest, I've actually been taking profit on the way up. Like I've had like an experience on there. I think it's great. I think they have a lot of good stuff coming, but I'd be lying if I didn't think that the current size of this FDV is not justifiable for the full extent of what is currently there. Like I've tried to trade some of their shit coins. It's like if Solana and Runes had a baby. Like there's a current coin that I'm holding, which is called G, and the token spread from the buyers and sellers is like 50%. And it's
bro, I saw a screenshot. It is what is happening there, bro? Like
I got no clue. It's gone down to 8% now. So this is Geo Mute.
Okay.
He's stepping into market make it for me, which is great. Market make my $100.
He's doing the heavy lifting on G.
He is, man.
G is definitely going to be one of the worst liquidity coins for sure.
What is the market on G? I tried to look it up, but because the ticker is G,
939K. It's less than $1 million.
Oh, so it's an undercover gem. Okay.
It's an
Yeah,
undercover
yeah.
gem with huge upside potential. But yeah,
It's a future 1B, yeah.
yeah. To round off your question, yeah, like I think there's definitely some really cool things to come back to. I just don't know if I'm like I'm happy to hold a moon bag all the way up to $100, but I'd be lying to say if this goes to the same valuation of Solana with the same with like arguably worse network effects, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like the tech, everyone seems to think the tech is really good. Like smarter people than I are all like obviously foaming at the mouth of the tech, which is,
Yeah.
like fair enough. I'm sure the tech is pretty good, but like I feel like with all things, like it's gonna take a while for like the ecosystem to mature. Like,
I agree with
it's
that. Yeah.
so early that it's like, I mean, I found it difficult to buy the chart when it was at like $10, let alone fucking like 34. I'm kind of just waiting
Yeah.
for like a big correction where I can actually like make sense of what the fuck I'm looking at, rather than just like top blasting the ATH every single day. But
Yeah.
I think that's one of the best
Respect
things
that.
about it, though, is like it doesn't give an entry. Like that was like one
yeah,
of my bullish like cases for it, is like the chart just doesn't give an entry.
true.
But like I think
Best marketing is to go up.
I think Swiss is really right in the fact that like there was like a week where like buying the ecosystem tokens was like somewhat profitable, but like that week
Yeah,
died off. Like that's probably when the week that you and me joined in ROG, like I think we timed it really
yeah,
well, because like I was
yeah.
able
Well, it
to
was kind of
exit
like,
out of all of those, like at the Schmiko tops, and I've got the little sell button, the little sell note, like the
yeah,
little
same.
sell icons at like the Schmiko tops of them, and I bought hype, so I feel really good about myself. That's like the one good trade I've ever done all year. But
Yeah,
yeah, like,
legit. But that was a head fuck of a trade, because you say we timed it really well, but we timed it like abysmally. Like I was literally
we
like,
did.
I'm washed, bro. Like I'm gonna just hold BTC the rest of the cycle. Like I'm just like tapping out of the risk plays, and then it just fucking ripped like a 5 to 10x depending on what it
Yeah,
was.
yeah,
Yeah, we both like sold the top, and I was like, okay, we could do this shit. But then it
yeah,
seems like
yeah.
it's like underperforming. So it's been like a very weird cycle for the high bolts.
Yeah, for sure. But it's been
Yeah.
like I think we timed the rotation back to hype like pretty well too, which was good.
Yeah,
But yeah, I think like the biggest thing with like hype is like one, what Swiss said is like the FTV doesn't really make sense, but like the market cap is still
yeah,
low relative. But even though the market cap's low, but it's still top 20 because it's like 10, 11, 12 bill. So if you ignore FTV
yeah,
and you just look at market cap, it's got some upside left. But then is it AVAX level? Is it all of these other level? Like it's probably got better tech and everything, but it probably doesn't have the network effect yet. But
yeah, totally.
like you said, Rog, there's a lot of smarter people than us that are quite bullish on it, and then they kind of have like a price floor, and then like the difference between those projects and this project was like anyone that had to buy it either had to get the airdrop or had to buy it on market, and there's dashboards that show all the people that got the airdrop, and majority of the airdrop sellers sold. I think it was like 80, ninety
Right,
percent of them sold. So like anyone that's buying now is
right.
like buying on market. And then there's like the difference between this L1 and any other L1 is that even though like you can talk about the decentralization and everything, but that's like typical of any new chain. But then the ETH has the burn, right? And the burn like,
Yeah,
adds to it's like decreasing supply. And then there's the emissions from staking, which is increasing supply, and then there's the transaction fees that the validators make. Whereas like Hyperliquid has the fees from the actual trades, which then go back into the Hyperliquid supply. So $1 million transaction on ETH might only be a $50 transaction fee, but $1 million transaction on Hype, because it's a DEX first, and if it's like 1%, then that's like still a lot of money that's then going back to them buying hype. So like the flywheel's been like
Yeah.
constructed quite genius. So it's a bit more of a Ponzi than
Yeah.
a few others.
The other thing too is that like I don't like to be it's all priced in, but again, like the EVM hasn't I don't know if it has or not.
Hasn't
Actually,
launched
I'm
yet.
not
Yeah.
really well
No,
versed in
no,
this,
it's
but
in Jan.
a lot of the things that make hype really good, or the things that are coming to hype, haven't yet come. So the idea that, like, I know that this isn't easily accessible on exchanges, but anyone with like half a brain to be able to like bridge has probably already considered buying now, in anticipation of that. So it's
Yeah,
like
I agree.
it's like to your point, Rog, it makes it even harder to buy because essentially, I don't want to say it's a sell the news event when these things finally go live, but if these things finally go live and it's at 100 billion FDV, like what's going to take it to 200 billion FDV,
That's true.
if all the buyers decided to step in and buy to get the upgrades that were coming? Like those upgrades would only really make sense if the valuation of this were like so low that the market has missed this opportunity to price this higher. But since this is like momentum mixed in with a lot of other good things that are coming, it's like a little bit harder to sort of trade, I guess. Yeah.
I did
Yeah, I
I
mean,
did a
like,
poll
I guess the other
today,
side of
and 40, I think 50-60% of people have not bought hype. I think it was like 60-70.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's not surprising. I mean, it's kind of like it's gone so hard that it's literally just like locked out, most logical people to like not want to
Heed
top
market
blast.
trend. Yeah.
It's like a perfect balance between like the people that just like got the intense FOMO and been top blasting, and the people that are just like way too scared to buy a chart like that. But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, it's kind of like the other thing is like, obviously, like it's insane. It's been insanely bullish that the team's just been like buying back so much hype, right? But it's also like, I feel like I've just not been like super switching enough either, to the point where it's like, when do they stop selling? Like, do you guys know if there's like, is that plan
Is
like
it the team that's buying, or is it
out
just part of
there?
the protocol? Just the way that the HLP1 thing works. I think it's not quite
I'm not
like
sure. I heard it was
yeah.
like the assistance fund or something. Like,
Yeah,
I don't know
yeah.
what the
I
exact
think it's
term
like
was. There's
part of the
something in this
protocol
fund.
type. Yeah.
Okay, so
It's
that's like a mechanism of hype. It's just going to like just turbo its own shit eternally, which is kind of insane.
yeah.
Good Ponzi.
Yeah.
Good
All
Ponzi.
right.
Shout.
We've been yapping too much to let you into the conversation.
I was trying to work out how to get the mic on that to work.
How are you, Karu?
Good, man. Everything's good. Lose all my money trading season. Hoping that if I buy some hype, I'll get an airdrop from hype. Is that how it works?
Unfortunately, you have to do
That's how the
about $1
pengu
million.
works.
You have to do at least $1 million in volume before you get any points.
Oh, so if it goes down, I don't get an airdrop to fix up my token balance?
No, not like the pengu.
Oh, shit.
DM Wonel for support. He'll sort you out, bro.
Yeah, just been bidding some memes, losing some
Nice.
money, making some money. I don't know how, but my spot bag was down, but my perps was up. So I'm like break even. I was like, oh, glorious. I've spent all that time and made 0.
You're edging closer to the 1 million volume mark, bro, so that's fine.
Yep, that's the plan.
Have you guys been like bidding? I mean, I know. Are you like in the Solana trenches much, Swiss? Or like, I was going to ask you guys if anyone's been like trying to bid this insane Solana meme crash, or if everyone's just been sort of watching from the sidelines, waiting for a pulse to appear.
I'm relentlessly bidding on the smallest of sizes through the pre-rich app. So I'll bid anything in the Solana trenches, but I'm not taking it as serious as probably other people that are more convicted in this. Yeah. I kind of think Sol looks the scariest out of all the charts, personally. So I'm really hoping Sol hasn't run out of steam, because I think we've got bigger problems if Sol starts like selling off. Even if hype decides to 2x from here, I think it could be scary stuff. So yeah.
When you were tweeting about 6 months of chop, every now and again I see like your tweets, and I don't know. Like I've got another mate who kind of talks like that at work. He's like, he'll say something super serious, but he's like being super facetious. I
Yeah.
get that every now and again with some of yours. I'm like, oh, that's, I don't know if Chris is joking with that one. When you said the 6 months of chop, were you being facetious, or is that how you actually felt?
To be honest, the way that I trade with the delta inflection points, and the way that BTC, yeah, well, the way that BTC is trading now is like quite similar to when we topped for BTC and then we ranged for 6 months, and I was like, I'm like not anticipating that we range because I think that would be like chaos for a lot of the alts, but it wouldn't surprise me after the run up that we've just had that we range. You know, like we did go from like the breakout is 67 all the way up to 108. So like a range here is actually technically still really bullish, which could be a possibility. I don't think I or want it to, but there might be a situation where like we do range. And the reason why I think that now is because like we sold off pretty hard. We're probably going to get a little bit of a ghost bid from the reflexivity of the sell-off and the fact that it's like coming up to Christmas and New Year's. And then in the new year, like if BTC rips higher, that's like fantastic. But if we range, it means that we've got to be like patient again until something that takes us out of this. But with Trump inauguration, like that could be the green light for everything to go up. But it's hard not to think that that was priced in from when he got elected, if he became the president elect, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm not trying to be facetious, but I am a bit cautious that we would range here and it still be technically bullish. It'd be a very gold thing to do. You know what I mean? Like it'd just be a very gold-like behavior.
Yeah. I feel kind of very similar because I was watching the BTC pumps for the day of the election. I think it was like what, like was it like 64 to 70 something it went to?
Yeah.
Like huge pumps. Like I think it was like almost a 10K candle or something. It feels like we haven't pulled off from that. And if I look at the weekly, it kind of says the same thing. Like this week has been the cool off. And when I was looking at this a couple of days ago, I couldn't see a cool off. Like there's always a cooling off period. Like when we first pumped the, what do we do, 72, it cooled off to 54.
Yeah.
And if you look at the weekly now, you don't even remember the dump from 72 to 54. Like if you look at the weekly, it's not like a big impact on the chart or whatever.
Yeah.
And so I was just looking at the other day when it was like 103. I was like, oh, cool off season coming. It's just how far does it cool off? Like that could have been the cool off, and I'd be very happy if it was. But like most things, that 72K dip to 54, that felt super diabolical at the time.
Yeah.
I don't think we've had that. Like when it hit, I remember I was watching it. I had to cash out everything about a week ago, and I didn't feel the pain, but I could see the pain. I was like, oh,
Yeah.
that's not real pain. Like when it was hitting 92, that was not people are wanting to kill themselves kind of pain, and that's like the 72 to 54. That was people going, oh, triple top, it's over. And I haven't seen any. That was like max pain. I'm just like waiting for max pain. I think max pain is like kind of very similar to what you were alluding to. Like
Yeah.
in the post-election pump candles, like 108. When it was like 107, I was like, oh wow, like how much more gas does it have? I thought at like 100, I was like, oh, we could just like nuke to 80 and then come back, and then it hit 107. I was like, well, like I don't think there's too much gas right now, because like if you look at all the weeklies previously, well, like I'll just look at 2021 for example. there wasn't that much gas.
Yeah.
Without, like, I think.
Wouldn't you
I'm looking at.
wouldn't you put ourselves back more in like end of 2020 if you're going to compare a relative period?
Yeah, so I'm looking at, like, right now. I'm looking at April 2020, and then that runs up. So what the bear market low was. So we pump out of the bear market, and then we're chilling, testing the range at like April, July at like 7 to 11K, and it's fucking omega ripped, right? I would say that's very similar to maybe like January 23, May 23, and then it just omega rips to 100, which would be the same as what I was saying, like April 2020, June, April 2020, July 2020. I'm comparing those 2 dates to Jan 23. Oh, sorry. Yeah. Jan 23. Oh, fucking trading views cut me off. March 23. Hold on, I'm gonna reload. I'm on the free ones when I'm Mac.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of looks like that first like flagpole out of the consolidation, right? Like, what was it, like early Jan 2021? That's kind of what it feels like to me. I mean, we had like such an insane sideways, so much pain. Like, alts got absolutely bent over, and it's just like it felt like we went through so much pain, and now there's like so much good news out on the other side of it that it feels like, yeah, like due for a bit of consolidation. But I don't know. It's still
The reason we
there's
nuked
so
in
many
May,
wins
like May
behind
21.
us.
So
That
Do anybody remember what May 21 was? Was that China banning
yeah,
Bitcoin or something?
yeah, it was a couple of things. Coinbase went IPO. There was China
Yeah.
banning Bitcoin. There was like so many things all at once. It was just like excessive at that point. It was like it hit the number one in the App Store. It was like all of the top signals.
yeah.
All like Elon fucking talking about Dogecoin. It was like that part of the cycle was just cooked. Like at that point in
It was
time,
just insane
that was the real
froth and
top.
like awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah, I remember the Coinbase being the number one in the App Store and being like, oh yeah, it's too easy for that to be the top, and then it was literally just like the
yeah,
absolute spike that you can see on the chart.
Yeah.
yeah.
If
I
we come
think
back to like 70, do you think it's still bullish?
no
If we come back to where?
70.
70.
No.
God no, I mean that would look fucking
No,
atrocious.
I think if you lost like 80, it's fucking done. Like you pack it up. Like I don't see there being a
Yeah.
second run up after that. Like you can use the halving tracker as like a good reference guide. The at halving tracker account
Yeah,
that
already
does
sent me that.
yeah. So that at halving tracker account like probably puts us closer to that January period in 2021. Like relative to the halving
Yeah.
date. I think
Like
it's like
the tiny couple red ones.
yeah, so
Yeah,
that's probably where I
feels
put
like
us
that
as
as well.
well. Yeah, this part, like where we sit now, reminds me of that time. Like that's where I sort of
Yeah.
like mentally like correlate it to from last cycle.
Yeah, I feel the same. Because it's also like it feels like we've obviously like probably like getting into late cycle now. So if it's like that sort of final sort of extension, like fuck
Mhm.
people around near the top,
Yeah,
that makes a lot of sense. But like I agree. I mean, like we spend so much time chopping in that crazy like death range of like 70 down to what, like mid 50s. Like if
yeah,
we were to get anywhere fucking near those levels again, that would just look like such a massive loss of momentum.
yeah. I agree. And I don't think like any period in time that you chop for that longer period of time is always due for like the longer you chop, the higher you go, but you don't come back down
Yeah.
and chop again without it being bearish.
Yeah, exactly. 100%.
Like even if you look back at the previous cycle, like we had like the June 2019 like second run up, and then that extended chop, the COVID crash, and then like more chop, and then we had the run up, which like timed well with the halving as well. But like you didn't get any chop after it started running again. Like once it broke all time high, it ran up. The only difference in this cycle compared to previous cycles is that we hit all-time high earlier. That is like the key difference. Like had we not have hit all-time high earlier and we did that chop like around the 40s and 50s, I think the conversations would be different. But I think the fact that we hit all-time high like at halving was like the one point of difference that's like makes it really hard to compare from previous cycles.
Yeah.
Totally reasonable.
Anyway, what else has been going on with you two apart from trying to future predict where BTC is going to end up and break all our hearts?
Yeah. I don't know. I've just been like, I don't know, consumed by like hype season.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like the same as like a lot of these guys. Just like the pudgy event has made me need to cope a lot less than I would be without that having happened. But Solana memes, yeah, I mean, that's obviously pretty miserable. Other than that, I just feel like we're kind of like in a stage at the moment where it's just kind of like outside of hype, it just feels like you just kind of like weather the storm, right? And I don't know, just try and yeah, it's like one of those touch of grass periods where you're just like, I don't really know what to do here. I feel like doing less is probably the best option. So
Yeah, like the sell-off has kind of told us to just go away and like be with family and shit. Like we don't have to fear that this is going to happen without us watching. Like the worst of this current sell-off is like concluded, so now we can go away and just like relax.
Exactly. We can step away from the computer. We can sit around the Christmas table and beg our relatives to buy our shitcoins. So, you know, it's perfect timing, really.
Yeah. Give
Trying
me
to
2
pick up
seconds,
new
lads.
hobby.
I'll be back. Hang on.
So, lads, I was
Started collecting
doing it.
Pokemon cards.
Yeah, start collecting Pokemon cards. I did these questions with Swiss and Sticks before, but I'll probably do the same. What was your surprising thing of this cycle? What was the best thing that you did, and what was the thing that you wish you did differently? I must start with Rog.
So, what was the most surprising thing first?
Yeah.
I honestly think, like, if I was to look back at like the start of the cycle, I think the most surprising thing, like, still to this day, is what a fucking hot piece of shit ETH is. Like, I mean, we've obviously like talked about how like, you know, there's so many bag holders now, there's so many billionaires, like issues with like L2s and all that sort of shit. But like, man, like look at the ETH BTC chart. Like, it's got an ETF now, and it still looks like that. Like, that shit is insane. Like, I can't wrap my head around it. It's just like every single time there's looks like a glimmer of hope. It's just like, nope, that's a double top, and we'll go 20% lower.
That thing get above 4K for now.
No, it can never get above
Yeah,
4K.
I say that it's got to one day.
Children die when it goes above 4K.
that is genuinely like one of the most brutal charts against like the US dollar. Is just like every time it gets even a whiff of 4K, it just turns into like the worst looking thing on the planet. Like, holy shit! Like that run up in May 21, where it's like completely like avalanche slides off a cliff. Man, that is an egregious chart. So yeah, I think that's the most surprising thing for me. I mean, I think like a lot of people, like Degen Spartan, all of that, you know, like he was super bullish ETH, super bullish Lido, and they just turned into like the worst performers of the year. And like Degen Spartan's obviously had a history of like, you know, being very switched on and having really good calls. What was the other question?
Best thing you did this year, and then
Best thing I did this year?
the thing you wish you did different.
Okay. Okay, the best thing I wish I did different. Well, I mean, like it's always over trading. I mean, like it's kind of like tied into one a little bit. Like the best thing I did this year was like changing my trading habits from previous cycles, where like I would cling to a narrative, and like price would be telling you telling me basically like this narrative is, or this thesis is either wrong or it's just not catching on. And like it would be one of those things where it's just like you'd hear all those people being like, yeah, you need to have conviction if you want to like, you know, hold your bags and get like, you know, the big multiples or whatever. But I think like this time around, the best thing I've done is just like sort of, you know, be like more honest with myself, and like if price isn't like following like the thesis I had, like if price isn't demonstrating like the thesis is correct, then it's just time to bail. So like one of the best things I did, I think, at the start of the cycle was like I didn't get Solana like heaps early, but I recognized like ETH was not going to be one of the big winners of the cycle, and Solana was shaping up to be one of the big winners. So I like basically dumped my entire ETH bag into Solana. And some dead alts that have just done nothing all cycle. So, yeah, I think that was like, yeah, like I feel like previous cycles, I can just tell I'd be just like a coping ETH boy, just like sort of doom posting on Twitter, just like giga coping. Yeah, so I think that's probably the best thing. The worst thing, or the thing I wish I'd done differently, was I don't know, just like not having learned that runes existed, basically.
Yeah, same, man.
If I can just like, you know,
I've wanted to kill myself ever since I've become an ambassador for these things.
Like I love like the idea of runes, but fuck me, that tore me a new one, bro.
The first time I tried to make a wallet to do it, I was like, no, I'm not doing this.
Well, that was the thing. Like I told myself, like, oh, you know, when it's difficult to buy, that's when you want to buy. And
I was gonna say,
like crazy X's. Like, you know, it certainly was sort of true, but yeah. Anyway.
no, awesome. No,
What was a good example of like your learning that you were wrong? What, like, was ETH the one, or was there other ones? Like, is there a specific? Could you give us like an example?
Yeah, I mean,
process?
like I had a bag that I was holding for like eons. So I bought it really, really low, and like in previous cycles, it went really, really strong. So it was like it was called Quant, like the ticker's like QNT. So it was kind of like, I mean, like I still didn't really, I mean, I didn't really fucking understand like a lot of the complexities of it, but it was basically like the central bank digital currencies it was related to.
Yeah.
And I thought that was kind of like an interesting play, like, you know, with sort of the maturation of, you know, like crypto in general. And like there was some sort of chatter around like governments getting into like CBDCs and that sort of thing. So I kind of like, you know, I thought that had legs, but it's just kind of one of those things where like if you can see like online, there's not really like much hype around it. Like there's not that many people talking about it. The price is proving you know, that it's just like sort of not going anywhere, then it's kind of just one of those cases where it's just like, I don't know if it was just like staring at charts for so long that you could kind of eventually figure out like, okay, there's something wrong here. Like when the market pumps and this doesn't move an inch, like that's a pretty big red flag. So yeah, it was kind of one of those things. When things started heating up, it was like, if anything, going down. So I was like, okay, I think I need to like reassess my strategies here, understand why things like Solana are pumping. So yeah, that was kind of it in a nutshell, I guess.
So is it just like no online, people not being interested in it kind of thing?
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, I guess it's just like sort of, you know, about how important like sort of narrative is, or like the hot new thing. So I guess like the thing that Solana had going for it, right? It's just like it wasn't sort of like so fractionalized across all these L2s and stuff like that. So it was kind of like a solution to a problem in a way. I don't know. I guess supposed to like, yeah, I don't know. There wasn't really much coming out with like CBDCs or anything. So yeah, it's just kind of like when the train's not moving, just jump on to the next one. I guess. I don't know.
I had the
That's
same
fair.
kind of thing with L2s. So I was like, oh, sick. Like Arbitrum's going to be sick. ZK Sync's going to be sick. All is going to be sick. I think the more listening to Wonel speak, and he'll talk about like fractionalized liquidity and all that kind of thing, I was like, oh, this is a terrible idea.
Yeah,
I was like,
just like,
dump everything for Sol.
Fuck.
So I was like, I had like quite a big bag of like Arbitrum at some point. I was like, oh, this is gonna be sick. Sounds awesome. Love the idea. Love ETH. Loved Polygon last cycle, and that like Omega ripped. So oh, cool. Arbitrum sounds good. And then just the idea of the same thing again, like people having to, okay, cool. You load up your MetaMask wallet. Okay, cool. You've got to put this chain in. Add this chain, do XYZ. Okay, now you got to switch from ETH mainnet to Arbitrum in Aave to do something, all this kind of stuff. And I was like, oh, the Phantom experience is just so fucking good. Even like seeing people use old, like guy I work with uses, I can't remember what the Sol wallet is. It's like an older one. Even that's still easy as to use. It just seems like Sol's fantastic, but the onboarding through Phantom, just doing it a couple times, I was like, oh, this is like incredible. And remembering it was incredible last cycle, like using Magic Eden last cycle through Sol, just so easy. You can tell anybody to do it. That's why like so many normies can use like that's why it's so popular on TikTok, all that kind of thing, like Sol memes. Just the onboarding is just so easy.
yeah, it's kind of like it really, in a way, has been kind of like the user experience cycle in terms of just like, all right, ETH was shit for like your everyday person to use, so like Sol ran up insanely hard, and then like Hyperliquid came around, people like tried that out and realized like how, I don't know, nice it was to use, and now that's kind of taken the limelight. Did like anyone bridge to like Sui or like Say? I mean, like I don't know if there's any.
I did
I
say,
thought.
Yeah.
yeah.
Lock it
I
up
went to
21 days.
Sui and played a gambling game on there, and this is when I knew that this chain was never going to be touched again by Swiss Capital. I was playing this gambling game on there, and every time I lost, the transaction went through, and every time I won, the transaction didn't go through. And I'm like, this is too coincidental for me to feel like that this is welcoming.
You're
So I
like
kind of
putting
just
your head
like,
in the hole, and you're like, okay.
yeah, I'm sure it's like completely separate from the builders of Sui, and not to discredit what they're doing at Sui, but after that experience, I'm not touching it. I'm not going over to Sui. I'm sorry, but but did you guys do that, or did you guys bridge across there?
I don't think so, to be honest with you. I think I just sort of like watched. I mean, I traded like the coins a little bit, like on exchanges, but like I never really, got into the actual the ecosystem of it. I mean, all I because like just I feel like by the time that was all going on, people were just saying like how I was hearing that like Say wasn't like very good to use, and I don't know. There just wasn't really anything that seemed like that interesting to me to like jump into the ecosystem. Like I know Say had like a bit of a run with like NFTs and stuff, but yeah, I never really. I wasn't really seeing a big future for like fucking Say NFTs. Like I feel like the chain sort of needs to prove itself before you get into that sort of stuff. Otherwise,
Yeah,
it's hard to get much out of that.
I remember trying to
Yes.
use Say pretty early, and you couldn't do anything. I was just like, oh, what do I do? Oh, where's the apps? Oh, how do I use the browser? Just couldn't, like, there was nothing like intuitive.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, oh, I can stake it, and then I
Yeah.
left. That was it.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
lost the money, unstaked it, sold it.
There was like one dex that you could trade on, and you could buy like Say in, and it was like all these like Say related
Yeah, the
memes.
Say,
And then
I also remember
and
like the swap. You're losing money on like every swap. I'd be like, okay, cool, I'm going to swap for this, and then I'd be like, say it's a $20 transaction, and then I'd get like $16 worth or something. It's like, oh, I'm not going to do that.
yeah. And it was on the Cosmos wallet as well, which was like not nice. So it was like, okay, you're meant to be a super fast chain Solana killer, but you're pretty shit because this doesn't feel as nice.
Do you guys
But
get the
yeah,
same thing using the Cosmos wallet?
I fucking
Say
hate
again?
Do you
Cosmos.
get the same like bad user experience with like Kepler and all that kind of thing?
I fucking hate it.
Yeah.
It's so bad.
It's, yeah, it's terrible.
It's one of the worst for sure.
Milk tier airdrop, please. Come on, give me one of them.
Karu, same questions we asked Rog before, but what was like the biggest surprise, best thing you did well, and something you wish you did different this year?
It took me way too long to get rid of my ETH. That was like the worst thing. So I reckon I converted like most of my BTC into ETH at like 0.6 and then converted it back at like 4 or something. So that's like almost a 50% loss on BTC while BTC was Omega ripping. So that was pretty diabolical. But I did buy a Penguin with some of that ETH, so that kind of got me back a little bit. Yeah, so worst year was just not. It took me way too long to realize ETH wasn't what I thought it was to begin with. I was like, oh, cool. Better than Bitcoin. You can do all this other stuff. It is good. I think user experience is like great. Borrowing, lending, swaps, that's all good. Bridging, easy. I don't think it's as easy for like a new participant to go through like using Jumper, bridging to Solana from an ETH address or that kind of thing. But the experience is still good for like an intermediate person. I just don't think BTC is just so simple, and so that's why it's good. ETH's problem is its complexity, but that's also why it's good. So it's so complex, but yeah, so that's what makes it good, what makes it bad. But it took me way too long to cut that. So I was like 100% ETH this cycle, most of this cycle, which was quite bad. And then best thing was getting meme peeled at the right time. So I was very anti meme coins all last cycle. I was like, fuck Doge, fuck Shib, fuck all this shit. But I had quite a good friend that had printed on Shib, the Mayan coin, all these kind of memes last cycle. So I'd seen someone do quite well with it, but I was completely opposed to it. And then I realized the only thing I seem to do okay at, that's why I was asking Rog before, is like realizing, like not having emotional attachment to being wrong. I go, it might take me a long time to realize I'm wrong, but I like, as soon as I cut it, I have no emotions towards it. I'm like, cool, on to the next thing, next idea. Let's try send it with this idea. And whenever I got meme peeled, it was the right time. So like, oh, I understand it. Alt season is not happening. All participants from 2021, all participants from 2017 that thought XRP was going to rip again to all-time highs in 2021, and that all those Dino coins from 2017 that they thought were going to rip in 21 didn't rip, which was the same thing how I felt from 21 to this cycle. I was like, oh, cool. Uni's going to rip, Curve's going to rip, all these kind of things are going to rip, and they didn't rip. And I was like, oh, cool. What's the new thing? The new thing was Solana being the world's greatest casino, memes, and seeing that blow up so quickly. So getting positioned in like Popcat, Fog, those kind of ones with relative size quite early was quite good, and having conviction in them. I didn't do the whole buy 100 meme coins in my wallet. It would be like 1 to 3 at any one time, but I would size in on those 3. So yeah, best one was probably Fog at like 20 mil or something like that.
Yeah, Fog was a cook. I was sad. I feel like that went around in the chat like a lot, and I just completely faded that shit. I've been just watching it rip for months.
And it's quite funny how like all the thesis was is I'd seen. It's hard talking to like I've got quite a few young friends that are like 18 or 19 that I work with or like friends of friends. They're like, oh cool, like how do I run it up? And a lot of it is just like experience, like seeing Shark Cat have like huge IP problems early on, Popcat having like a tiny little bit of that, and then seeing Fog. That's also why I didn't buy Stigma, like when XJZ like first posted it, which I'm a bit sad about. I was like, oh, it's gonna have an IP issue. But then changed that with when Giga was getting sent. I was like, oh, cool, beta to that. But as soon as Fog popped up, and it was like, oh, cool, it's quite memeable. The artists, the people who own the coin, they own the IP. There's artists drawing it, sick, easy peasy. So like sized in. That was it. I was just like, oh, cool, like Shark Cat problem with IP. Fog, this isn't gonna have it. Send it, and then it did quite well. But that was experience. So even like another good thing is like sticking around through the bear market on the timeline was like really good because you kind of get experience for what happens and what doesn't happen. Like the Shark Cat one, everyone was like, "Oh, Shark Cat full center, it's gonna full send." I bought some of it at some point, cut it as soon as I realized I was wrong. But having that experience going into the next one, I was like, "Oh, cool, can size accordingly." That was it. Bad one was not cutting ETH early enough, but then good ones were picking good select memes, I suppose. Not trying to 1000x it to my detriment.
Yeah, yeah. No, that makes sense. And what about something that surprised you? Like that was like just not what you expected. Like if I was talking to Hikaru this time last year, like or beginning of the year, what's something that like really just you didn't expect to happen?
How many new participants are now gods? Like I didn't see that last cycle. I didn't see people from so I'm 2021 cycle, class of 2021. I didn't see many people from 2021 hit 7 mil from zero, hit 7 figures from zero. Like across the timeline, it seems like there's way more people that have come into this market quite young with a huge edge, and that edge just being understanding what's popular and stuff like that. Like
They didn't
2021, you
have
had to,
PTSD either.
yeah,
It's like the one soul in a dream, and there's like they've been in the market like 3 weeks. They're cashing out 2 Toyotas. It's just like they're
yeah.
so good.
Just been quite surprised by how many people are like they came in like January or February, and they're doing and like absolutely printing. Like that's wild.
Yeah, it's generally it feels like it's been one of the most insane cycles for just like the everyday person. Like as long as you don't take yourself too seriously, like the amount of motherfuckers that came in and then just like ripped like 6 figures out of like thin air is just like I mean that's like surely I feel like this is one of the best cycles just in terms of like VCs have been getting absolutely like fucking like roasted all cycle and then just like complete morons that like probably like work I don't know, like fairly low paying jobs or like shift work, or they're like young guys coming out of school or coming out of uni, probably like with big uni debts, and they can just like rip their port from like literally like $100 into like, maybe like not necessarily like, well, yeah, life changing amounts, but like the point where like all these people who are just like curious enough to like give it a go have just now like set themselves up in like such a strong position. Like I feel like that's the best part of this was like VCs have just been like, yeah,
I
getting
don't
like
feel like this
kicked
cycle
internally.
compared to I don't feel like that wealth effect was as great last cycle. I don't know. Like I don't
No,
remember
I agree.
I don't remember this many like 6 figure portfolio type shit like popping up as much as
bro, absolutely not.
like I feel
I
like
think this would
last
have been like
cycle
the
was
yeah.
completely different.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I've been around since a bit off and on early in the early days, but like since 2017, and I swear to God, it's like never been so easy to like run it up from like really tiny amounts. Like you might have had like the ICO era, like that kind of popped off and went crazy if you picked the right ones, but yeah, like you said, the wealth effects have been absolutely insane this time around.
That as soon as I seen that bonk guy just keep printing, like first time I seen that, I just sat there and looked at it like, holy fuck, what did he do? And then it was like 13, 15K long, and he just kept holding it to 1 million. I was like, how? I'm also surprised by the ability to hold positions as well.
Bro, like Blockgraze being like one of the cycle's success stories is great. Like, I mean, because it's just like it's such a good example for like people to want to get in on. Is like that's like Bonkai and like Blockgraze and that sort of shit. Like that's probably the type of person that's gonna actually like bring people to the space, right? And it's like it's not an easy feat, like holding bags for that long. Like I don't know, like something like ETH. I feel like you've got like a fundamental reason behind it, but it's like the dog has a hat, and it's just like to have conviction in a dog having a hat and be like, yeah, I'm up like 10 million, but like, no, it's going higher. Like, that shit is just like bizarre to me. Like, me and Blockgraze bought around like the same time, and I cheated like well early. Like, I managed to hold a little bit of it like pretty deep, but like to the extent of Blockgraze, it's just like, yeah, that shit's just like,
The
they need to
funniest thing
like
with Blockgraze
fucking
was
like
like
scan his brain.
he was like the like serial rotator, right? Like so, like
Yeah.
before, because I used to have a thing with Blockgraze like during the bear where I would bookmark his tweets and then like I would put his tweets on charts back when you used to be able to do that,
Yeah.
and it was always at like the Pico bottoms that he would like sell his coins, and then he would buy at the Pico tops, and then I would just like constantly like bookmark it, and then every time he made like one of his back to cash posts, I would like screenshot it and then like put it underneath, and then it was like an ongoing joke between him and I like during the bear, and then for him to like go from that to like buying whiff and then just like holding it for forever, it was just like insane. And it just like for him to do as well, like it's so like made me so happy to see, even though like I didn't partake in the same trades, but like I faded a lot what he did initially because of like my
Yeah.
experience like following him like earlier on like during the bear market, and it was just like, for him to have done what he did, coming from where he was, like it was just insane to me. um
That's why
and
his story is
it's such
so
a cool
good. Like the
story. Yeah.
Brotato lore is, yeah, it's like the lore is insane because it's just like he went through the period like you were just saying, and I swear I remember him like doing a tweet about like he's only been able to basically like gig a diamond hand his whiff bag or whatever because of like his past mistakes, and he was just like, no, enough's enough. Like not this time. This one, I'm not gonna let go for anything. And it's like
Yeah.
without all that previous experience of getting like chopped to smithereens, like he probably never would have done this. Which is like, yeah, it's a sick story.
That's awesome.
I love his Winnie the Pooh memes. I'd now like attribute Winnie the Pooh to him. Just how like it's just so fucking good, man.
Yeah, no, it's good. It's good. But no,
So people's
that's
retardism has knocked me this cycle.
legit, legit. But yeah.
Sorry, man.
No, I was just gonna say some good insights there. It's been a hell of a year, like honestly. I think for everything that like we've gone through, it's been one crazy year. And looking back on it, it's just like it's amazing that we've come this far as like a crypto space. I just hope that like coming into next year that like the whole Trump thing doesn't like devalidate it at all and doesn't become like associated as like a Trump thing and just becomes like somewhat recognized. But it does
Yeah,
make me
true.
bullish when I see like Australian newspaper articles saying like beware of crypto, that sort of shit. It's cool to see.
Yeah, that article I saw that one as well. That made me feel like, okay, we're not near the top yet. Like, I love seeing shit like that. It's just like, okay, I can sort of like cool down from all the bull propaganda that we sort of see in our little echo chamber every day. And then you see like news.com.au being like, it's going to zero imminently.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, that's what you need to refresh the mental.
No, exactly.
All right, fellas, I might jump off and
No.
head to bed.
Yeah.
Likewise.
But it was good to have Hikaru and Rog on.
That's fun, bro.
Smoothie, Rog IRL.
Open the chat to see haha Roggy's from Canberra, Lamau 7 times in chat. So like that's a good way to round off the night.
He is from Canberra.
It's like it's
Rog
like
is from
following me on various
Canberra.
platforms now. It's like on 4 different platforms. I've just got this fucking prompt.
But no,
It's been
Anyway,
like a really good podcast, guys.
no,
like,
thank you.
It's been a
Thanks for
great year
coming.
listening to it.
No,
yeah,
thank
much
you.
love, boys. Merry Christmas.
Merry
Have a
Christmas.
sick holiday period.
Happy New Year.
See you in the trenches soon.
Merry
Sounds
Christmas.
If we
good.
have to do the trenches all over again in 2024, man.
Oh fuck
Yeah,
In
it.
2025, I should say.
No more fucking trenches, please.
There's no leaving. Please no.
All right.
Yeah,
Thanks,
but I
everyone.
hope you guys
Thanks.
have a great Christmas and New Year's, and you don't look at the charts during that period of time.
No, I'm logging off.
Up only.
Up only.
Up only.
Thanks, boys. Appreciate you coming on. It's good.
All right. Catch you.
Peace.